All right, America. As I've told y'all before, I am a scholar. I love to read. And after reading the 1619 project, I decided to, which was very heavy, by the way, very heavy book. I encourage all of you to read it. I wouldn't say that I learned something new in reading the 1619 project, but I just got some more gruesome details to fill in a lot of the blanks about the overall notions that we have about what our people are facing in this country. So after reading that heavy book, I said, you know what, I need something light. Let me go to something light. So I ended up reading two books about the Dallas Cowboys because even though my brother is the Cowboy fan in the family, but I admit I am fascinated by the franchise. Okay, I'm a Packer fan through and through, but I am fascinated by the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, I read Skip Bayless's book, God's Coach, and I got to talk to y'all about that one too. But the last one that I read was called Boys Will Be Boys, and it was about the 1990s Dallas Cowboys. And God's Coach by Skip Bayless was about Tom Landry's Cowboys. Okay. And in that book, my God. Now, my brother Racist Leo been trying to tell me about his Dallas Cowboys and some of the crazy stuff that went on. But y'all know how it is, America. When you read something for yourself, you like, what? It was crazy.
It's a little different when you read the words for yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I've heard that Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones were butting head, but it seemed like the media be trying to make it seem like it was all Jerry and like Jimmy didn't have an ego in it. So I learned in this book, if the book is correct, it's a reason why I'm saying that. Well, y'all probably can see right here why I'm probably saying it. If the book is correct, so like Jimmy played a role in that too with ego. I had heard that my boy Michael Irvin had an affinity for women outside of his wife, and an affinity for no sugar. I'll just call it that.
Okay.
But that book let me know how deep that was.
I'm sorry.
I didn't know that my boy Michael Irvin, they tell me, stabbed somebody with some scissors, stabbed one of his teammates. That's what they're telling me. I didn't know that. I had heard about the White House from my brother had told me about the White House that the Cowboys had to do their miscellaneous deeds. The book provided details on the White House. Charles Haley. I had heard that Charles Haley was a character. And I had wondered why in the world would my brother Tim G. Jacobs' organization want to let go of a stud like that for real? Like, we've heard of locker room, disruptions.
Yeah.
I know now. Because they say Charles Haley was blessed.
Yeah.
Or big bone.
Yeah.
Or Bernie Mac would say heavy structure. Okay. And that he wanted to show the world that. And he would show all of this. That sometimes he'll go sit his heavy structure on somebody's shoulder and things of that nature. I learned that in this book, America. Okay.
You just don't hang your flag half staff.
Yeah.
You raise it high.
No, but, all right up there. All right. But what got me, the part I had heard.
Wait, that didn't get you?
No,
the Chuck didn't get.
I had heard remnants of him being crazy already. I had heard it. What I had not heard anywhere other than in this book, that Coach Prime, Deion Sanders at that point, was lazy and didn't want to watch film. I had never heard that. So I definitely wanted to double back on my brother Ray C's Leo, since this is his Cowboy. See, had he ever heard something like that anywhere, and also pick his brain on some of the other stuff that Perlman alleges in the book. See what my brother Tim G. Jacob, saying, because he covered watch NFL just as much as I do. See if he's heard anything to back this up. Do you have any stories about Charles Haley from your 49ers locker room? But particularly start out with Coach Prime. I had never heard that, and especially he'll be the head coach Jack State. I damn sure don't want this to be the truth because God forbid his boys ever got hold to that book and believe that stuff. I'm sure coach will push back on that. You know what I'm saying? But I just had never heard that about Prime, and it kind of goes against the image of Prime because he's so good. He was so good. I know he's freakishly athletic, so you think maybe he can get away with it. But also, some of the, like the way he covered, you would think, no, that dude putting in the work, he watching the film and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So he's the first. Had you heard that anywhere else? And what do you have to say for your franchise?
I thought you were about to say, what do you have to say for yourself?
No, I might have to say that because they are yours.
Because you rock
tied
with them.
yourself to
what
them.
do you have to say for yourself?
My
man?
God.
America, I'm ashamed. You know, to the point of Coach Prime, like you said, Deion Sanders at the time, man. I look at novels like that in two ways. One, that's an amazingly written book by Jeff Pearlman. I mean, amazing to get those personal accounts, whether you're getting it from a guy who was happy at the time when he told Jeff Pearlman these things to a guy that's not so happy when he told these things, to get these descriptions that no matter who told it are so detailed, you get to formulate your own opinion behind it. Is quite amazing. To the Coach Prime stuff, I think I look at it two ways. You could easily see that being a person who gave that information on Deion Sanders at the time as not being a favorite of his, you know, of not looking at him in the most popular light. And then you could look at some of the stuff Deion has posted himself of when he played for the 49ers and he laid out his uniform and he's had an old school TV in front of his uniform at the Super Bowl saying, you know, I was watching film even up until the moment of going out. Like that's the image that he wanted to portray.
Exactly.
But you're getting this other image, and boys will be boys, of just, you know, a Deion Sanders that was only using his God-given talent to get the job done. That's a story that's really a dime a dozen in the NFL. It's just in this case, we're talking about an all-time great, one of the greatest athletes ever, the greatest cornerback ever. So, you know, you hear that and you say, man, is that real? You know, could that be?
Well, let me ask you this too, brother.
Yeah.
I got to throw this in there.
Yeah.
The book also alleges that your Hall of Fame quarterback, Troy Aikman, had beef with Deion Sanders. Now that sure enough got me kind of like, I just saw Troy Aikman pull up to the vet.
Yeah.
And I saw Prime up here doing, like, I didn't like Prime doing that to him.
Yeah.
But I saw Prime bowing to the man and they hugging. Troy Aikman and gave money.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
When you get a bunch of dogs in a room, alpha guys, you know, eventually you might have somebody bump heads on one or two things. That's what I think you see. The book will say it, other guys will say it. Troy Aikman was the engine that drove the entire thing. He was a no-nonsense guy, right? He would come in and we're working. I don't want to hear about, you know, your escapades the night before. I just want to know that you're here to work. So that's kind of been his narrative. You haven't had anybody go against that narrative. So if you're saying that Troy was that guy, and then Deion was the guy that was like, hey, like in the book, they may say that Deion was the guy to say, I don't care about any of the game plan. I got him. I'm going to shut him down for the rest of the evening. Y'all don't have to worry about this. You know what I mean? So that may be a tipping point for a guy like Troy Aikman to say, well, I don't want a guy on my team that operates in the me. It's all about the we. Let's go get the win. What I love about the book is the detail in it to prove not only to myself and other Cowboys fans, but to anybody who just loves football, that the Dallas Cowboys in the 90s were winning in spite of. They were winning in spite of, as you so eloquently put it, Michael Irvin, you know, enjoying the finer things of life, but also being the first person at practice the next day, hanging out all night long with putting all kind of things in his body, but the next day being literally the first guy at practice already, you know, full on, you know, sweating because he's put in the work already. Using that same analogy, having Jimmy Johnson cut a guy and saying, you can't do what Michael Irvin does. I'm gonna let him slide on some stuff because I know Michael Irvin is that guy. You can't do what he does. I'll cut you. I'll get you out of here because you can't produce on Sundays the way Michael Irvin does. Just the dynamic of Jimmy Johnson coming in, with the blessing of Jerry Jones because they played in college together. And then you watch their relationship deteriorate over the years simply because guys' egos get in the way. You watch Jimmy Johnson leave. You watch Barry Switzer come in because that's the kind of guy that that Jerry Jones wants. And then you watch that dynamic change of a disciplined team to a team that's able to let little things slide, and slowly that franchise deteriorates.
I didn't know Barry Switzer was a wild boy too. I didn't know
you get what I'm saying? Look,
he was a wild boy.
to
He
your
slept
point-
with his homie wife,
To your
and then
point
the
about,
homie stayed cool with him. I mean, what?
I think a huge turning point in that book is the way Charles Haley was handled. Where Jimmy Johnson wasn't really going for that, then you have Barry Switzer come in, and when it is, hey man, cut that out. Well, Barry Switzer is like, hey man, you're embarrassing all of us by doing it, having fun with it, like that entire philosophy.
The quote was, the first meeting, Barry Switzer called out Charles Haley and said, "Hey Charles, I heard that you show everybody you ain't showed it to me yet. What's up?" Like he ain't worthy to see it. I'm like, what is wrong with these boys?
It's an entirely different philosophy. And
That's
again,
why y'all ain't won the Super Bowl again yet.
And
brother.
again,
you gotta get some crazy boys in there.
Won a Super Bowl with Barry Switzer and that type of lifestyle, but that was on the back end, man. It's whether you're a Cowboys fan or not, I think my brother Wells will tell you should read it anyway because it just shows the in-depth, the reality of the NFL when you were at the top. Like for real, when you're at the top, if you don't have an organization that is structured from top to bottom, you'll see what it's like to watch things fall apart slowly but surely, man. Some of the greatest athletes, some of the greatest names in all of sports, you see the glitz and glamour part of it, but you don't see like the mess behind the scenes, man. A great book, great narratives. And like I said, I think that the high point of it is these guys were able to win in spite of.
T, same thing to you. First of all, I forgot Prime played for you too. Your last Super Bowl, he played for you. Matter of fact, one of my favorite quotes from him comes from when he played for you, when he told that guy, "Look at the scoreboard, partner." When that San Diego Chargers player was trying to talk crazy, and y'all were already beating the brakes off them boys. Had you heard anything questioning Prime's work ethic and attention to detail and stuff like that? And what are your other thoughts about your boy Charles Haley was one of y'all had a lot of crossover.
Yeah,
I think y'all had to cross up with the
Ken Norton. That's right.
That's crazy that the two teams, because y'all were whoever win that game going to the Super Bowl, and y'all had so much crossover.
Yeah. No, I never heard comments about Coach Prime like that. Like, his work ethic and everything. He was lazy. I will say this though, I think he had a right to be lazy because I think Deion Sanders is football. He was football in that time frame. Like, I think he was a genius, if you will. This is not to say that my uncle was just like Prime. He was Deion Sanders, but I remember having a conversation with my uncle. He used to play high school football, and he was a really good running back. And he told me, he said, I was just asking him just questions about, what was you like in high school, And he said, I can tell you right now, I hated practice. Hated practice. Like, all I wanted to do was get to Friday. Because
was your uncle Booby Miles?
No, he wasn't Booby. Okay. He wasn't Booby Miles.
All right.
But it was just he was
shout out to Booby Miles, by the way.
He was just like, practice just was like, I know what I'm gonna do. I know what I'm gonna do on Friday. Like, let's just get to Friday. Like, I don't care about running through these plays. I don't care about working on this. I just want to get to Friday because I know what I'm gonna do. And I say that because I just think that's how great of a player Deion was. I think Deion just was instinctively that far and above the rest that I think he had a file of everybody he was in front of. sometimes I don't think he had a foul of a. I don't think he had a foul of a many. I think he had a foul of the great ones.
Sure.
But the ones that was just a receiver, that was just a guy, he was like, okay,
Yeah, I got this. I got this week. Don't worry about that.
yeah, like, look, half the island good. Y'all go ahead and do what y'all gonna do over here. I got this covered. I think that was just Coach Prime. Now he may not admit that, but I just think that's what he was. I think his bravado, what his composition was, who he was as an athlete first, and then as a football player. I think he understood who he was and he knew I'm just greater than everybody. And that's okay. That's okay that he knows that. Now, when it gets to Chuck Haley, the things I knew about Chuck Haley was that he had a lot of mental health problems. There was some mental health things there that were very, very prevalent. It was there. And I think those are the things that I take with me about Charles Haley. And look, if his meat was 13 inches long, then that's just what it was. I mean, if you know, you know, not everybody can be who he was. You know what I'm saying? A sack leader and a sack leader. If you feel what I'm saying,
shut your mouth.
What you mean? I'm just saying what I'm saying.
Shut it down.
I'm just saying what I'm saying.
Where's the producer to mute this dude?
There it is, right there. That's what he needs.
There it is.
Shut it now. Okay, get it together.
Artist, a sack artist. Okay, but anyway,
look now.
I'm done.
Oh man.
But no. Chuck Haley was a great. He was a great, and
all-time great passer.
You know what I don't want to make the. This is what I think about when I think about Chuck Haley. I think about Alvin Smith. And then first few years of just God gifted, like Alvin Smith gonna make it happen. Now, whatever happened after that. That's not really what you want to see, but that's just what it is. But they're just guys that were gifted, and I think that's what Jimmy Johnson was really good at harnessing that. I don't know. Some people may not like that because it's us that he kind of got a way of harnessing their abilities. He lets them do stuff that they doing what they do, but he's getting the best out of them on Sunday. And some people are like. Some people will feel some type of way about that, I guess, maybe if you deep dive into it, you get all deep into it. But Jimmy Johnson just had a way of getting your very best no matter what. Like you said about Michael Irvin, knowing darn well he was out till whatever time in the morning. But Michael Irvin was committed to the game.
Mike Irvin, a wild boy, America.
Truly committed to the game.
That's a wild boy.
And we know that.
It's like I knew it, but
look how big his tie knot is.
And
how big his tie knot is.
Here's the other part that really stands out to me as now they are older men. You heard Wells mention like Troy shows up to Jackson State. Troy probably never been to Mississippi before Deion Sanders takes over at Jackson State. He's there. Right? Yeah, maybe they bumped heads in the book, but they're there for each other in that moment. You see Troy Aikman going and hanging out with Jimmy Johnson. They probably have the same political beliefs, the same lifestyle, which is different than probably Prime's lifestyle, right? You see Michael Irvin hanging out with Deion Sanders. You see Emmitt Smith hanging out with Troy Aikman. You see Nate Newton and Charles Haley showing up to Jackson, Mississippi off the strength of their relationship with Deion Sanders. So all of the things that they went through, good, bad, or indifferent, to this day in 2022, these guys know that their journey was connected in such a way that they still hold each other down. So that's what I mean. Like even in the disagreements, even in the different lifestyles they were living at the time, or in most cases, similar lifestyles they were living at the time, these gentlemen find ways to get back to each other and support each other in their moments of triumph and sometimes, sad times. Like that's what I mean by the book is so in depth and showing you the strength of the relationships that I read the book when I was in college, and I think the book was 5 or 6 years old in. So we're talking almost 15, maybe even 20 years of a book that's been on wax and still showing how strong these relationships are today. It's an amazing narrative, man. I don't really need to promote this guy Jeff Pearlman. He's doing just fine without us.
But promoting reading, because we
But
got
promoting reading, man. And if you're a sports fan, there's no better, opportunity to get out there and learn something about a true sports dynasty.
Yeah.
I call them America's team, but it's one of the hottest topics in sports year in and year out. So if you really want to learn where that came from, you can read that book and get a wealth of knowledge like right now. And it's an easy read too. It really is.
Yeah, and that's the main reason why I want to, when I read these sports books, especially for this show, to try to get some of these youngins that may watch the show, encouraging them to read. I'm really trying to tell my young boy it's way more details in the book. I wasn't taken aback by The Last Dance because the book, The Jordan Rules, worse than The Last Dance.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
The book, The Jordan Rule, lets you know off top that Michael Jordan is an a-hole, and it lets you know that him and Scotty ain't never like that man for real. Horace ain't never like that man for real. Mike ain't never trust them boys on the court for real. Thought they were soft.
So none of this is shocking
Jordan
to you right now. Yeah, none of this is shocking to you.
No, you know what I'm saying? So it's crazier than what we saw in documentary form. It's just that now it's a lesson to be learned too for I'm about to say younger readers, but also for folks our age and up too. Because I see this on social media, cross-reference stuff, people, please. As we told y'all when we did this segment on what was the name of the account that was tricking people? I know one of them is called
Ball Sack Sports.
Ball Sack Sports.
That's right.
And then they got the butt crack sports out here and stuff like that. Y'all got to cross-reference stuff. All right, so like I was saying, the Jimmy Johnson, Jerry Jones feud, I cross-reference that across whatever you want, you're going to find that to be true. The stuff with Charles Haley, you can cross-reference that. This stuff with Coach Prime, I hadn't heard that anywhere else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? So that's why that is kind of unbelievable for me. But it speaks to what my brother was just talking about. And when I read the acknowledgments, I don't think Mr. Pearlman interviewed Prime. So as you were saying, maybe he spoke to a teammate who didn't like Prime.
Personal vendettas are real, man.
Prime first came in with the flash.
Yeah.
Some didn't like that. But then when Prime nearly killed himself and then really gave his life to Christianity, you still had some teammates didn't like all that. You know, in a football locker room's like a microcosm of America. That's some cats don't want to hear. They call you a Jesus freak and stuff.
That's
like
right.
That.
That's
so,
right.
You know,
that's
some cat, were turned away because of that. So with that particular detail, I can't get down with that. Now maybe that's the fan in me. But logically, I just haven't heard that, and that doesn't seem to be who the man is now with his coaching. You know, to my either. But the rest of these details, again, I've heard the stories from my brother. I've heard the stories in documentaries, and
oh man,
you can tell by Charles Haley. I saw Charles Haley on the pivot. I want to say. That man's still crazy. Him and Channing Crowder were going at it. He's still crazy.
Yeah.
Mike Irvin. Y'all see Mike.
Yeah. You see Mike when you ain't supposed to see Mike. You saw him at the Errol Spence fight.
I text my brothers when Mike makes a first take appearance during football season.
It's some of the best television out there.
And my brothers know. I text him and say, "Yeah, he back on it." Because that boy, he go to sweating and hollering. But
let me tell you something, man. I don't really desire to have anyone on this show because I really think we are enough. But man, if we could ever get Michael Irvin on this show,
it's doable.
I'm not even talking about fanboy type stuff either. I'm talking about just getting Michael Irvin on this show.
I'm thinking it's doable
and letting this man roll, y'all.
Bro, I'm thinking it's doable.
America, at him right now and let him know what we're doing on here.
I love him now. Now Mike. Mr. Irvin, you a wild boy, and I think you would agree that you were a wild boy.
He knows that I'm a wild boy.
You know that, okay? But I love your passion. You are one of the greatest wide receivers of all time.
Oh, yeah. Cold
now. He gonna go get you that 3rd and 7.
Cold.
That's some first down.
That's a bucket list interview, man, because you know that you're gonna get like the raw, honest truth. Like, but that's what I mean. Like, those stories that are in that book are the raw, honest truth in a lot of cases, especially in Mike's, because he'll vouch for everything that was said.
He just real people.
Now him stabbing the dude. Now I had to tell my young boy about that one. Cause I'm trying to tell my young boys, like, look, these cats, even though they black, and we know how America does, okay, still these boys be living a different life than the three of us. Because if you can stab a man with some scissors and not go to prison behind it, you boys kept that on the. I had never heard that story. But Perlman, brilliantly, this was brilliant writing here. I will vouch for that. He opened the book, come out the gate with that. And I think I text Ray like that.
He started with that.
He started the book with it. I'm like, God, dog, they slapped me in the face with this. Okay. But Cowboy fans, man, y'all chime in for real. NFL fans in general. Let me know what y'all have heard about the 1990s Cowboys, what you may have read.
What you may have seen. Run it down there on our YouTube comments. Like what you have seen. Like, man, I seen Larry Allen that.
Now, if you out there from if you were from out that way and you in some of these clubs with these boys, please let us know.
Like, man,
if the 90s were your prime, this is the segment for you. Let us know.
I need somebody in Texas to just say to me, man, back in 95, man, I was in the club with Mike Irvin, man. We was in the VIP with Mike, man. I'm telling you, man. I seen him snort a whole 8.
All right, boy. Bro, one of them Super Bowls was in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys were complaining about it being in Atlanta. So this different. Yeah. So the Super Bowl in Atlanta today.
It's
live. With that group of men.
It's live. Wasn't enough for them though.
I bet you they been in Atlanta since they retired.
It wasn't enough for
Magic City would have took them boys whole playoff checks.
Wasn't enough for them, man.
They might have lost that game. Depending on who they played.
They give a Buffalo, maybe. It had to be Buffalo.
Shout out to Buffalo. But
let us know, especially y'all OGs from the era, what y'all know about these Cowboys. And are y'all shocked? Like, don't come with the Deion trolling. Now I know it's some folks that probably hate Prime and hope that stuff is true, y'all. Yeah, I told y'all all he can do is run fast and he didn't tackle and all that kind of stuff. Woo. Now keep it real. Don't come to troll. Let us know what you know. And for my youngins out there, I encourage y'all read. Put it on down. My kids wanted me to tell y'all to make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me across all social media platforms, like the videos, and share them. Did I forget anything?
And turn on the post notifications.
Y'all heard them. And also, visit Statement Tees, LLC.com, and shop with us. That's Statement Tees. Every t-shirt you wear
makes a statement.